Okay, so I just recorded a 6 minute discussion on my poem that didn't record properly because the volume area was being muffled by my bed. So here we go, take two for another 6 minutes. I'm too lazy to find a partner for poem discussions, so this here is my little baby girl Lucy. She's really tired right now and sleeping, which is the best time to do this because she'd be jumping around otherwise. But the poem we're reading, is called Stag's Leap, which I'm choosing because I think it's pretty interesting that the title of the book is the same as the title of this poem. And we'll get back to this later, but the image on the front cover uh, it's pretty obviously significant when it's obvious you can see the stag leaping in the image. But other than that, let's get into reading. Okay, so then the drawing on the label of our favorite red wine looks like my husband, casting himself off a cliff in his fervor to get free of me. His fur is rough and cozy, his face placid, tranced, ruminant. The bow of each furculum reaches back to his haunches. Each tine of it grows straight up and branches like a model of his brain, archaic, unwieldy. Okay, so this is like my fifth read through of this poem, and I just noticed that she used the word his fur. So I think she's quite literally referencing her husband or ex husband at this point as a stag, whatever that is, a deer, which is interesting. I don't know what quite to make of that, but that's noticeable. Anyways, he bears its bony trail level as he soars from the precipice edge dreamy. When anyone escapes, my heart leaps up. Okay, so it's kind of like, that feeling when you're asleep and you jolt awake like you've been shocked and you're like frightful or afraid or whatever, and then it kind of goes away in a second, but that initial feeling is like what I imagined she was feeling when she like put it into those kinds of words. Kind of like how when your partner here hears you've got treats or something and then they wake up really fast because they're excited. Yeah, that kind of feeling. Um, Even when it's I who am escaped from, I am half on the side of the lever. It's so quiet and empty when he's left, so when he's abandoned her. I feel like a landscape, a ground without a figure. Okay, so this is kind of something I find really ironic that she compares herself to the ground when she's also talking about her husband being a stag that is leaping away. So, kind of like in this front cover picture right here, I imagine like my kind of connection here is that maybe she's the ground on that is the right side of the picture that the stag is leaping from. So, just kind of like I don't know, a visualization of what she feels about her husband leaving her, if that makes sense. So, anyways, Sauve qui pute. Some French line I don't understand. If you speak French, hit me up. Let those who can save themselves. Once I saw a dry point of someone tiny being crucified on a fallow deer's antlers. A line we have no clue what that means, so don't ask me. I feel like his victim, and he seems my victim. I worry that the outstretched legs on the heart are bent the wrong way as he throws himself off. Oh, my mate, I was vain of his faithfulness, and I've come to understand that vain means naive. So she was vain of his faithfulness. She was naive of his loyalty to her, which you can see because in the rest, like in this entire poem collection, you can definitely tell that the dude's cheated on her. She is clearly been abandoned by her husband, probably now ex-husband. I would hope so. You never know. Um, Anyways, I was vain of his faithfulness as if it was a compliment rather than a state of partial sleep. And when I wrote about him, did he feel he had to walk around carrying my books on his head like a stack of posture volumes? Okay, so I kind of imagine like her ex-husband dude walking around with books on her head trying to keep his back all straight. Like he needs to look a certain way in order to be, I don't know, written about nicely. Like he needs to fit a certain sort of standard or mold to be accepted. Because his wife is clearly writing poems about him, and if he doesn't act a certain way, maybe the poems might not be so flattering. Something of the sort. Let's see. And when I wrote about him, did he feel he had to walk around carrying my books on his head like a stack of posture volumes, or the rack of horns hung where a hunter washes the venison down with Sauvignon? Oh, leap, leap. Careful the rocks. Does the old vow have to wish him happiness? Okay, so the old vow, I believe, is referring to her status as ex-wife, because you know how marriage vows, that kind of thing. That's the connection I'm feeling here. So, does the old vow have to wish him happiness in his new life, even sexual joy? I fear so at first, when I still can't tell us apart. Okay, so I would like to imagine that when someone has just left you or you've just left them, it's a little bit hard to move on. At least a teeny bit takes you a while. So that's probably why she still can't tell us apart. Just like we can't tell ourselves apart because we're just going to be together forever, Miss Lucy. Um, so she still can't really tell them apart at this point, and let's move on. Below his shaggy belly in the distance lie the even dots of a vineyard, its vines not blasted, its roots clean, its bottles growing at the ends of their blowpipes as dark green wavering groans. Okay, so I don't want to really imagine what she is referring to below his shaggy belly. I think we can make that kind of connection ourselves. If that's even what she's referring to, I don't know because I'm not a poem analyst and I have no clue what the end of that poem means. I won't even try because it might not be school appropriate. But yeah, so basically that was the poem. Overall, I just feel like she's kind of like just trying to describe the feeling she has of being abandoned by her husband, which I don't know, pretty much the same kind of feeling I get when your dog runs out from the house and leaves you alone and you have no clue where they are, so you have to run out and find them. But this is kind of different because she's not running out to find them. She's just like sad and alone. She's been left behind, and she doesn't really, like, at least in this poem, give any hint of trying to go back after him. She's just, it is what it is. So yeah, I guess that was the poem. If you ask me why it had the same title as the poem collection, the little title here, probably couldn't tell you. Maybe it's got like a same overtoning theme, if that sort of makes sense. Probably. I don't know. Anyways, thank you for listening. We greatly appreciate it. Please pretend that we were discussing lots of things because I didn't want to annotate a poem with Screencast-O-Matic. Thank you. I love your class, Miss Dickinson. I appreciate you. Thank you. Bye-bye.